Hello photography fans, and welcome to another episode about classic cameras and classic photo gear. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about one of my favorite cameras. I've had love and hate relationship with this particular camera for years. I've bought it originally, then I sold it, then I wanted it, so I bought it again. Now I'm gonna keep it. What camera am I talking about? Well, it's the largest camera I have that takes roll of film. It's so big, it's so massive, that sometimes it's hard to take it outside and use it. It's actually a studio camera, but without further ado, let's take a closer look at it. What I have in my hands is a Mamiya RB67 Pro S. It's a 6x7 single lens reflex camera. It's a huge, very heavy camera. Let me put it on the table and let's get some details. This camera is so massive that it takes up a whole Low Pro Nova 5 shoulder bag with all of its accessories. You can purchase many lenses for it. You can purchase all kinds of stuff. Different backs, different viewfinders. So I'll try to, in this lengthy video, I'll try to go over all these accessories for this beautiful camera. And I also want to mention that some of my best pictures were taken with this heavy guy. So let's start. This camera is a professional grade 6x7 format camera. It takes 10 6x7 exposures on a roll of 120 film. It was mostly meant to be used in the studio due to its sheer weight, but you can still take it outside. You can still shoot with it using tripod, or you can handhold it. I sometimes handhold it. It was introduced in the 1970s. There were many models. This particular one, when it was introduced, it was supposed to be a supplement to the Mamiya C 6x6 cameras, those tall, big, clunky TLRs that could do macro photography. Few other models were Professional S, Professional SD. After that, the camera that came out was Mamiya RZ67, which is a whole another ball game. We're just gonna focus on this guy. I did mention my love and hate relationship with this. So when I originally bought this camera, not this one, the one before this, I wanted a Hasselblad. I wanted a Hasselblad 500 cm. But the minute I saw the price tag, I knew I wanted something different. So when I saw this guy, I go, why not? Cheap camera. The lenses are pretty good, or pretty excellent, I should say. And it's a modular camera. That's what I'm looking for. So I got my first Mamiya RB67. When it came in, I had to do some work on seals. But once I get it working, it was working great. However, after first roll of film shot outside, I decided I guess it's not for me. It's too clunky, it's too big. I'm never gonna use it again. So I put it up for sale and I sold it. The minute the package shipped, I started missing it. So I said to myself, I'll wait a while, and once I save up enough money, I'll buy myself a whole outfit. And this time I'll be using it. So a few years later, I went on an auction site and I saw this beauty. It came with a 90mm lens, came in one bag, and a waist level viewfinder. So I purchased it. Then I purchased another lens, and another lens, another back, and another back, and another viewfinder, until I filled this whole Low Pro Nova 5 bag with all of the accessories for this camera. But enough blabbing. Let's take a look at it in more details. Let's see what's so special about this camera. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Camera is almost completely taken apart. No, it's completely taken apart. So let's go over all these things that are laid out on my table. So here I have the camera body, which is a solid metal design. You can, if you don't have a hammer in the house and you need to nail something to the wall, you can use it. It's so solid. I don't recommend it, but you could. This guy here is a waist level finder hood. It's just a little shade. There's nothing here. There's no optics in this guy. These here are film bags, and I have 3. And what's cool about this is you can load each of these with different type of film to put them all in a bag and go out shooting. And let's say you need 800 film, put it in, you have 800 film. Oh, I didn't finish the roll. No problem. Take it off, put it in the bag, put color film. Take it off, put different type of film. That's what's cool about these. With a standard SLR, you can't do that. Over here, I have a prism finder. 45 degrees, eye level prism finder. Heavy, heavy thing. This is a focusing glass or focusing screen. It goes on top of the body. This guy here is a Polaroid bag. Now, this is not original Mamiya bag, but it's a Polaroid bag, and it fits the body, and I'll show you how to fit it. I still have some Polaroid style paper in it, or film. I haven't finished shooting it. That stuff is discontinued already. They don't make these. I guess somebody else started making it, but I haven't really followed that. I shoot mostly film in it. This was just to test exposures. Now let's talk about lenses. Here I have the 90mm f3.8 Mamiya Secor lens. Very sharp. Some of these pictures are so sharp that it just scares me. One picture was so sharp I cut my finger on it. Here I have another lens, which is a Mamiya Secor 180mm f4.5. So not the brightest lens, but great lens nevertheless. Portrait lens. And here I have this very heavy, almost looks like some kind of nuclear weapon warhead. This is a 250mm f4.5 lens. Very solid. All metal design, well, most of it metal. Beautiful lens. Portrait lens, telephoto lens. So the 90mm would basically be like a 50mm on your standard 35mm camera. Your 180 would be considered longer, so about I would say about 190mm to 100 equivalent, and then this 250 would be like 150mm. So this is great for portraits, very close, very tight portraits. This guy for more, maybe head and shoulders. This is a focusing screen. I thought I mentioned that already. So let's put this thing back together. So I have the body. Let me move this stuff around so that you can see it. So let's talk about the body in greater details. The body itself consists of focusing knobs, which extend the front portion of the camera which is connected to the body with bellows. Now bellows allow you for closer focusing, which is very useful. However, when you do closer focusing, you have to remember about bellows compensation. So this thing has this neat calculator already built in that shows you the bellows compensation for different type of lenses. So you're using 50, 65, 127, 140, 360, 250, whatever. You just take that line and check your compensation. I don't compensate for anything less than full stop. So if it's half a stop, anything within this range, for my 80, for my 90, I don't really compensate because there's no point. Half a stop on the black and white film doesn't hurt anybody. On the right hand side, right by your right hand thumb, you have a film, you have your cocking lever, which you use to cock the film, the camera. Inside you have your mirror, and then you have an auxiliary shutter. Now remember, these lenses have shutters built in. This is an auxiliary shutter. When camera is open for you to view the image, the lens has to be fully open and the mirror has to be down. Now there's always chance for light leaks, hence the auxiliary shutter to prevent the film from being exposed. On top of the camera you have these two red lines. These are indicators whether your camera is in horizontal, your back on the camera is in horizontal or vertical position, landscape or portrait. And you probably now realize the name of the camera, RB67, stands for rotating back. Well, how does it rotate? Very simple. You take this back of the camera, which this is the back, and it comes off in order to mount the Polaroid. I'll show you that in a second. And you rotate it. And on top of that, on top of the lines move away. I'll show you. You have the orientation marks. Portrait, landscape. This back comes off for you to mount the Polaroid. So let's take it off. On the bottom you have this very fancy lever, this chrome plated lever. You just pull it out and it's been sitting on this camera forever, so the seals kind of get sticky. So now this is completely naked body. Everything's been taken out except for everything that can be taken out was taken out. So this is your rotating back. Now if you wanted to mount the Polaroid, all you do is simply take this and you mount it. I rarely use it. I bought it because it was a good deal and I wanted one, so I bought it, but I rarely use that. So let me put this back on and let me start assembling the camera and going over some quirks. So straightforward. The back goes on. Just make sure you putting it the right way. Goes on like so, and then you close the lever. Now, I accidentally shut the camera, but I'll leave it in this position just to show you what I mean by certain quirks. So the back is on. Now, what I want to do is install my focusing screen. So I just put it on. There are these little tabs on them, just to make sure that you put them in the right position. So it goes on like so. The next thing I want to put on is my viewfinder. Now, In order to lock the viewfinder onto the body, there's this Mamiya logo that slides. But there's also this release button here. You press it and then you slide it sideways. And you put it on the camera and you slide it and it stays on. Like I mentioned, this is just a shade. It doesn't do much, but it shades the sun so you can see the viewfinder. Now I shot the camera and I want to put on the lens. I'm going to put on back this 90mm lens. The lens is open, as you can see. So, in order to install this thing, the camera and the lens, they both need to be in sync. In sync, I mean cocked. So, if the camera's shot or uncocked and the lens is cocked, they won't go together. Or if they do, you may cause some damage. So I don't want to be showing you the wrong way. I'll be showing you the right way, the way I do it. So I cock the camera by pushing the lever forward. Now the camera is cocked, it's open, the mirror's down. The lens is cocked. So in order to put a lens on the camera, you have the red button and the red arrow on top of the lens, and you have the red button on top of above the lens mount. So all you do is align these guys and you turn the ring on the lens right. It's as if you were tightening it. Now the lens is on. Now the camera is starting to take shape. Let me just pop this hood. Now look, now this is professional. This is impressive. Then you take the back, the film back, and you put it on. Very simple. Make sure these slides are all the way to the left. And you put this back on. You don't, unlike some cameras, you don't just slide it on or off. You simply just put it, align everything, and then slide. The back is on. And this camera, ladies and gentlemen, is now ready to shoot. So in order to shoot this camera, obviously you have to load the film. But you have this little plate here. It's a dark slide. So in order to shoot it, you need to remove the dark slide. And on the other side of the camera, you have the cold shoe. And you have the little tab here. So this thing just pops in here for safekeep. It doesn't come off. So you don't lose it, you don't put it in the pocket and destroy it, and bend it and damage it, or whatever. Right. So, in order to shoot it, you cock the shutter, which we already did. You select the shutter speed. I'm going to do 1/15 of a second. It's on a lens. You select the aperture. You focus. And you press the shutter button, which is on the bottom of the camera. And you simply take a picture. Oh, did you hear that sound? Beautiful, beautiful mechanical sound. Now, the lens and the camera are in sync. So, and they're shot. So in order to take another picture, you just cock it. It cocks the lens and opens the lens. And it flips the mirror. So you're ready for the next shot. Now, with this type of bags, I'm sure there's other bags that, and I'm certain there are other bags that cock themselves automatically or advance film automatically. These don't. You have to advance the film. Now look at the back. You have a little red dot, and a lever, the cover thread dot. What that is double exposure prevention. If your red dot is exposed, you don't have to cock the back in order to take another picture. But if this thing is covered, camera will not shoot. So if the film is loaded and you have that red dot covered with a little lever, the camera will not let you take another picture until you advance the film. Now in this particular case I don't have film loaded, so I won't show you that. So I'll just leave it on exposed dot and then I can take a picture. Well, you won't let me. What's going on? You see, if you don't remove the film back, if you don't remove the slider, the camera, the interlocking mechanism will not let you take a picture, so you don't expose blank frames. Now you can take a picture. Alright, I want to change the back to a different one to show you guys how simple it is. So I just slide this one way, slide this the other way. Oh, what's going on? It won't let me slide it. It won't let me take the back off. You see, the camera also has an interlock prevention to take, so you don't take the back off accidentally and expose the whole roll of film and your whole day is ruined. So you have to insert the slider, the dark slide. The dark slide. You put that in, push all the way in. Now you can take the back off. And you can install your other back. In this case, we're installing, let's say 800 film, color 800 film. Alright, and you just repeat the process. So now, I'm gonna show you guys how easy it is to load the film in this camera. And for that, I'm gonna need a sacrificial roll of film. So this Kodak Ektar 100 happily volunteered to be the sacrificial roll of film. So open the wrapper, pull your roll out. Very nice. Now you take the back. You have a little tab here on the side. You pull it, the back springs open. You pull the middle part out. Now you have to swap the rollers from when it's shot. So you have the plunger in here. Come here. You have the little plunger. See these? One here, one here. You push it down. Take the spool out. Put the spool into the winding side. Make sure that the top, there you go, aligns. There you got it. Alright. Now you take the sacrificial roll of film, or we're pretending this is a brand new roll of film. So, I'm going to take this and I'm going to install it like so. Push this plunger down, put the film in, release the plunger. Now run the paper around the rollers so that it comes back on the other side like so. Now I'm going to match. I'm going to insert the the tab of the film backing, and I'm going to roll it. I'm going to move the lever until this thing spools on. Alright, until it catches. Now, inside the back, you have a starter mark, which is this little white arrow. So you want to match the start of your film, the start mark on the film back, with that arrow. So there it is, matching. So now I'm going to take this back, put it in its outer case, lock it. Now My counter is at S, which is standard for start. I'm just gonna turn it until number 1 frame is on. And number 1 shows up in the window. Notice I don't have my red dot visible. So I want to make sure that my camera is cocked before I put this thing on. So I put it on, close the tabs, top and the bottom, and I'm ready to shoot. So now you'll be able to see how this thing works. So I'm ready to shoot my first exposure, pull the dark slide out, set my shutter speed and my aperture, shut. Now what's interesting, when you shoot it, next to the frame number a little red square or a rectangle appears. That is letting you know that this frame is shot. So what you must do is you cut the camera and advance the film. Number 2 shows up. It's clear, no red square. And shoot the camera again. Are you ready to go? Cut the camera, advance the film, shoot. Cut the camera, shoot. Oh, it won't let you shoot. Your double exposure prevention is on. So, 2 options. One option is to advance the film and shoot. Cock the shutter, don't advance the film, open the little lever so that the red dot is visible, shoot, and the other one, shoot. So now you've taken 3 pictures on 1 square or rectangle of the film. One shoot again, cock, one shoot, advance, shoot. Simple. Let's say you don't want to use this film anymore, you want to use a different one. Slider back in, open, open, comes off. Film is safe. Camera's ready to accept next film or maybe Polaroid back. Now, this is the beauty of this system. You don't have to shoot the whole roll. You just need to shoot maybe 1 or 2. Maybe you want to shoot the whole roll. Maybe you just want to shoot half. Oh, and then you decide, oh man, I'm gonna go outside and shoot some beautiful landscape. You can do it. You can do it, certainly. So that's the beauty. That's the advantage of this system. Now, after I shot all of it, I'm going to remove the film, which is very simple. Pull this tab out, the back springs open, and hey presto, I got my shot roll of Kodak Ektar C41 process. Straight to the bin. Done. Now, most of the time when you buy these bags, when you buy these cameras, unless you buy them from good source such as KEH, thumbs up guys, these cameras will need new seals and new foams. Otherwise they will leak like crazy. The backs will, and the cameras will as well. Simple process, sometimes it's not worth paying unless you want to. I replaced all the seals on these cameras and the backs myself. It took me like a couple hours to do it, but it's simple to do. Go online, look up Mamiya RB67 foam kit, buy it. It will come in all laser cut, ready to go. All you do is just replace a couple seals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is done for the back. On the camera itself, you replace the seal, the cushion on the lens, the two trapezoid shape seals on the side of the mirror, and then on the rotating back there are 2 seals. Simple, no fuss. So let's talk about storage. This camera does spend some of its time in a storage bin or in my low pro bag. Speaking of which, I'm gonna go on a tangent here. I think I purchased all the low pro Nova 5 bags ever available online. I must have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 15 of them. They're excellent bags. They store, they can keep cameras in them, and they're very well padded. Go back. You want to store this camera. I stored it with the back on, as to not to take up too much space in my bags, and the lens on. But in my case, I store it shut. So I cock it, make sure everything is in sync, and dark slide, and I shoot the camera. Put a dark slide back in, and my camera is ready for storage. Now, what about lenses, you ask? Well, lenses go to storage too, but as you can see, these lenses are closed. So here's the thing: you cannot put on a lens on this camera unless it's cocked, but the lens is shut, it's uncocked to keep in storage. I do it, and I don't know if it's right, but I do it, and I've been doing it for a long time. I do it as to not put additional stress on the springs inside the lenses. So, in order to put it back in sync with a camera, you have these 2 levers here, these 2 pins on any of these lenses. All you do is turn them all the way to the red dot. You have 2 dots there, green and red. So you turn all the way to the red and you just release it. Now the lens is open. To prove it, hey, hello, the lens is now open. Now when you take it off the camera, the camera must be cocked. So the lens is obviously cocked. So in order to uncock it, you simply press this little button here, this little tiny pin. You press it down, you grab these 2 pins, press down on them, and you shoot the lens. And your lens is shut, the stress of the springs has been released, and you can safely put it to storage. Let's see if this one is shut. Yay, this one's shut too. So, this beautiful guy came with this humongous hood, so I just fold the hood. And I don't have a cap for it. No, I don't. No, sir, I don't. But, speaking of additional accessory, this is this non-metering. And I heard that apparently there were metering prisms. This one is non-metering prism. So, in order to put it on, just take the viewfinder off, put this guy back on. Oh, and now you've just added like additional 3 pounds to this camera. This thing is absolutely massive. It looks like some Soviet era submarine or something like that. But it allows you to shoot eye level. I don't personally like that. I find it weird. I like to shoot waist level with this camera. If you're shooting it on a tripod and you want to be at the eye level with your subject standing up, then yes, this is a good thing. But I still prefer my waist level finder. Right, why did I purchase accessories that I don't use? Is because I wanted them and they were available and they were cheap. All of this stuff here, all of this stuff that I've showed you was less than $350. All of it. So you can buy a great system, excellent camera, solid build. This camera will surpass any of your digital cameras. It doesn't need batteries. It doesn't need anything. All it needs is film. It doesn't even need a meter because you can just guess the exposures outside. But it will live forever. Just change the seals. Maybe one day change some springs. Great camera. Made in Japan. I mean, this thing is solid. One of my favorite cameras of all times, and some of the best pictures I've shot ever came from this camera and these lenses. I hope I didn't miss anything on this camera. If I did, I'm sorry, but this is already a long video. I think it's going to reach like 45 minutes. So I'm going to show you some pictures taken with this camera at the end of this lengthy video. One thing I want to mention is the lenses can be synced to electronic flash and M, which is a bulb. I've shot this camera in studio, and there's a video on a 4-year-old using a Mamiya RB67. The link in description, and check it out. It's my 4-year-old daughter at that time using this camera, shooting a portrait. It's very simple to use. Cock, focus, cock, press the button, and you're done. It's about the subject, it's about the light, so the photographer doesn't have to fiddle with all this nonsense, all these buttons and menus and all this stuff. All you do is just plop it on the tripod, focus on your subject, think about the light, think about the pose, versus fiddling with nonsense. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the Mamiya RB67. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you didn't fall asleep during this video, but I was really struggling with myself to even do that video. Reason is there are many excellent videos on YouTube regarding this particular subject. I try to make videos on all my cameras, so there you have it, a video on Mamiya RB67. I might have missed some of the features, some of the quirks of this camera. I'm sorry if I did. Remind me in the comments. Duly apologize ahead of time. Yeah, I don't care. I did. It's about overview. It's about this great camera. If you ever happen to come across one, and you're in the market for that, it's a great addition. The lenses are excellent, very modern lenses, and the last model came out in the 1990s. So 1990s, man, it's like brand new. I think you can consider it classic, being 46 years old. However, it's on the edge of classic and modern, but it's classic in its own right. It doesn't use batteries. It's a great camera, so it's a classic. To me, it's classic. Not as classic as some other ones, but still classic nevertheless. Anyways, it's late. I'm gonna go pack it all up and probably go to sleep. You, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the pictures. Make sure you keep shooting film and keep the film alive.
Был художник один, домик имел и холсты, но он актрису любил, ту, что любила цветы. Он тогда продал свой дом, продал картины и кровь, и на все деньги купил целое море цветов. Миллион из окна видишь ты. Кто влюблен и всерьез.